all 30 seconds of it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and post the
Okay.
workout. I have some spelling errors here, but
Oh, it's all right.
didn't capitalize Bulgarian, all these things.
Oh,
So
no
we
more.
have 3 sections today, 2 shorter ones, one I would say a little bit longer. The first one is 3 times through. It's a couplet. You're doing 2 things. 10. I said front loaded good mornings. If you need to not load the good morning, as in take weight out, remove the weight.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you both variations.
Okay.
5 per side push-ups
Oh,
with a rotation. The push-up can be heavily assisted, just like you normally would. But we're really trying to add some time and attention, but also a little upper back rotation as we do like at the end of a push-up. So essentially kind of a tall side plank. You're going to repeat those 2 things. So with 10 total reps, 5% on the push-ups,
okay.
um, with rotation at the end of each push-up.
Okay.
And then the second piece, part B, if you will, is 4 times through. I said Romanian deadlifts or deadlifts, depending on the weights you have, meaning starting from a standing position or starting from the floor. Okay. I didn't write the reps, sorry. I want you to do 8 reps here.
Okay.
Okay. So 8 Romanian deadlifts or 8 deadlifts from the ground. Again, depending on the weights that you own. Um, Directly after or shortly after, I have something called a superset. Basically, what that means is you're going to do, in this case, a couplet. You're going to be doing deadlifts of some variation directly or shortly after into some jumping. Now, if you can't jump or land, you've done some plantar fasciitis, that's okay. Lunges or stepping, if stepping feels okay, is it fine? You could also, of course, eliminate this element if it's your feet are not having it. But if we can get a little explosive movement, you don't have neighbors. If you're at home or a second, third floor, that's okay. You can eliminate the jumping element here. But if you
Or
can jump,
downstairs neighbors. I can jump.
great. And for some people, jumping is just not an option. They're like, I don't feel comfortable jumping on my, living room floor or whatever. So I said seated vertical jumps, 8 to 10 reps, and then you're gonna rest. Traditionally, if we're in a gym setting, the weights are ascending, we would rest up to a minute and a half. Because we're in a more unique setting, everyone, including whoever's watching this in the future, has a slightly different variation. If you're going to be in a gym setting, I want a full minute and a half rest.
Oh,
If you're right, kind of more home workout, like, hey, I have like 10 pounds. You don't have to be as strict, but I still want a rest break before you deadlift again, even if it's a little bit shorter. So
um,
for me, deadlift, jump, rest, not deadlift, rest, jump. So I want as little rest as possible,
okay.
basically. That's all we're looking for without
Okay.
being tripping on things. We're repeating that total of 4 times. 8 deadlifts, 8 to 10 seated vertical jumps. If you have a box, you want a box jump, great. Or stepping up. Okay. Box or, you know, bench, you have something to step onto. We're following this with a 12-minute AMRAP. So that just means as many reps as possible. In this case, we're still implying rest. So rest is built in this case, wherever you need it. And I'm going to go through this again, but everything is 7, 7, 7, 7. So 7 per side, per leg, Bulgarian split squats. 7 heel elevated glute bridges. These can be single leg or double. If you're doing it's per leg. If you're doing, or you could do 14 total. If we're doing 2 feet. 7 goblet squats. This is sumo. I'll talk about what sumo means. And then 7 per side, 2-second paused mountain climbers. So you've done most of these things, just not all together. So let's we'll kind of kickstart this pretty dynamically because have to. But if you want to get a little slower in the warm up, you can. So we'll start with 10 cat cows, 10 bird dogs, and then we'll just kind of start rolling into some more specific warm up. Okay. As guys, if you're watching at home, feel free to do any prehab you need to do or rehab. Yep. Again, kind of taking your time through this, just kind of letting your spine move. If you have 10, we'll go into bird dog. So also make arms and legs. Extend the leg first. Squeeze your butt on that extended leg. You can lift that, maybe the arm, but that can be a bonus. We're just biasing in this case, a nice kind of flat, neutral hip, low back. You can extend, just understand you are extending if that's the case. Total of 10. I think that was 10-ish. My counting is always a bit questionable, but that's okay. A little rotation here. So you're going to reach to the ceiling. And then kind of this thread, the needle element. Use your gut. Use your best judgment. If it's good, great. If not, don't thread too much. Let's do 3 per direction. Okay. My third. Okay, for a slightly different piece. I like to breathe in as I reach, but that's kind of a personal preference. And then exhale as I'm bringing this through. Good. Okay. Let's have you do this. Let's go 10 reps. We're going for, well, sorry, 10. 5 inchworms. So I know you can't see my body, whole body. I'm gonna keep it down here for a second. With the edge of my mat or lengthwise on my setup, touch your toes. You can bend your knees, go wider, that's fine. You're gonna walk out. You feel comfortable. Into that plank shape. You're gonna lay down. However you need to lay down. Okay. Lay down. You go ahead and get back up. You can warm up. Walk your hands back towards your feet. I like to stand up between reps. You don't have to. So if you don't like to stand up or you're comfortable keeping your head below your hips like I am now, that's fine. You can do that. That was 1, however. So every time you walk your hands out, you lay down. It can be kind of up dog, down dog, if you prefer. Okay. That's 1 rep. Let's do a total of 5. We're checking a couple of things. Can you touch your toes? It's okay if the answer is no, or it's a challenge. The other thing is, can you lay down and get up? Right? Well, a total of 5 of these. All right, so take your time. You're gonna bend your knees and your hips back. Helps to touch your thighs and then your shins and then the floor. Right. If you're having mobility issues or frankly, you're just not able to get to the floor without really any pain or symptoms, we can kind of keep this a little more simple and I'm going to show you on the ground, but if you want to elevate your hands on something like a dining room table or something sturdy, you can. We can go plank into a down dog or plank into a tabletop. So I'm doing this from the ground. I'm in my plank position. right? Even be from the knees, it helps, or full plank, and then just into a down dog. So this is, again, if I was on, my hands were on a table, it'd be more of a tabletop shape, right? But you can do this instead. So we're eliminating the element of moving up and down, basically, from the floor, if that's what you're getting stuck on. Or maybe it's just super uncomfortable. Beautiful. So we're gonna kind of start from the, okay, so we're starting with good mornings. Front loading is optional. It's more like if you find the regular good morning too easy. And basically what we're gonna do, you can do this with a broomstick. I don't happen to have one, so I'm just gonna go equipment free. Equipment is not required. But if you like to have like a back rack position, then by all means. Is everything okay?
Yes, I was looking around the house for like or in my immediate vicinity for a broomstick or something. But yeah.
No, you don't. It's more like if some people really like to have that position.
Okay.
I'm kind of agnostic about it. As in, if I have it, great. If I don't, it doesn't affect me or my ability to do it, basically. So this is, I'm going to do the equipment free version because I don't have any of this readily available. So ultimately, you're going to be in a standing position. I always expect a gentle or a mild amount of bracing, meaning just a little bit of belly flex when we're doing stuff. I think like a 2 out of 10, right? We do this all the time when we're standing up, but want to be intentional. The good morning itself without weight is, I'll be kind of away from the camera here. I have my hands behind my head. This is really meant to just open up my chest, right? So I'm not rounded forward. So my chest is up, my eyes are forward. Look somewhere in the distance. Feet are in a nice athletic stance. My knees are soft. I'm just gently braced. I'm going to breathe in as I send my hips back, keeping my eyes forward, and then exhale like one. I'm not exceeding this distance for me personally. Everyone's going to be a bit different here. If I keep going, I have two options. Option one is to round my back. I want to avoid this. Option two is to bend my knees, which is actually a legitimate thing to do, but we're not doing that yet. So I'm not going to bend my knee, just very much through the hip. Right? That's your good old fashioned. This is a regular good morning. For those of you like find this like, yeah, coach, got it. Super easy. Okay, great. You can take a weight. I'm going to use a kettlebell. You can use a dumbbell. Front loading it can make it more abby. Meaning I have a kettlebell here, but you can carry anything you like. Or carry some books, whatever it is. I'm gonna pull the kettlebell on my chest. So I like it this way. Same idea. I'm kind of holding the weight to my sternum, breathing in. My chest is still open, okay? But all of a sudden, I'm a little more feedback here. Not in a bad way, just a little more core based, as well as kind of hamstring and glutes. So there's no wrong answer to this. But if you like a front loaded variation, right? The dumbbell might be more something like this or this, although this kind of, the weight tends to hang in front of me. So if possible, I like to hold both heads. It's a little easier, more toward my chest. Or if you want to hold it towards your belly, like a row position. That's okay too. Whatever you find most comfortable. Either way, you're doing 10 of those. Weighted, unweighted. No wrong answer. If you have any symptoms in your low back, or just generally, then that's fine.
Okay. I lost count. How many? Oh,
10.
okay.
Oh, honestly, you've probably done 10 by now, Arisa. Let's be honest. Between like the unweighted and weighted. The second thing we're gonna do are 5 per side, essentially 10 total. Push-ups with a rotation. So again, you can assist your push-up any way you'd like. The rotation element, if you can tolerate it, is this one. So I'll use my knees because I'm tired. I didn't warm up. But you can push up, right? Rotation, I'm actually going to a full plank. It's easier. I'm going to rotate, right? Back my push-up shape. Right. And basically you're only rotating once per push-up, but you're really doing 10 total push-ups. Right? That is your couplet. Right? If you need to reduce the number of push-ups, that's fine. At the top of your rotation, you want your bottom hand, shoulder, shoulder, hand, all in the same line. So not rotating the torso. It helps to look at your hand at the top. That's okay. So to manage the volume here, you can think per side. So 10 is too much, as in 10 push-ups per round. We can take the volume down from 5 per side to 4 per side. That's 8, right? Get the idea. Beautiful. That's round 1. We'll do that 2 more times. And resting as you need. It's self-explanatory, but just in case. Yeah. Good. Breathing in your hips, go back. You're doing a great job there. But for whatever reason, this could be you or anyone else watching this, if you find you don't really know when to stop, this could mean you're relatively flexible. So you don't have a whole lot of stretch reflex sensation on the back of your leg. That's fine. Maybe you just don't have great proprioception. You just don't really feel things well. Again, that's okay. What you can think about doing is if you have access to a wall, something, maybe a post in your house, you can use that as your guideline to reach back for. What I mean by that is you can step up against the wall, like someone's measuring your height against the wall, and then just take like one step forward, like one of your feet. And that's a good distance to start from. And then you can reach your hips back to touch the wall from that distance, basically. If that's too easy, step forward. If you find yourself falling backwards, it's too far away. So that's kind of how I think about doing a good morning if I'm not really sure how far to go. So you can be ultra flexible or just kind of not sure where to stop. Beautiful. I will be clear. I assisted my push-ups in the demonstration just because I did. If you would like to do full, as in plank push-ups, great. The push-up, try and get your chest all the way to the ground if you can tolerate that, and then come all the way back up. Good. That's round 2. Rest a little bit, and then we'll get into round number 3. I will say it is okay to feel your low back a little bit in the good morning. Can be, but depending on how far forward you lean, it can have a low back bias. Generally, when I teach this, I don't teach a low back bias, because I find people tend to be a little bit sensitive there. But still want to keep head down, eyes forward. I would imagine it's what it's like to ride in TT, head down, eyes forward, but you can tell me. I'm not a time trialist or a triathlete.
I definitely feel it in my glutes and my hammies, though.
Great. And again, a little mid back sensation is fine because your mid to low back is supporting you, as long as it's kind of a secondary response as opposed to the primary response. Um, so there's that. Yeah, hopefully back of the legs, your butt, always a good sign. Those are kind of your bigger muscle groups back there. If you feel that and your mid low back and it feels gentle, then that's great. Good.
Okay.
Take a break. Okay, well deserved. Alicia, we're going to do 3 sets of this instead of 4. Okay, please. If anyone wants to do 4, by all means, feel free to do so. So I talked about Romanian deadlifts or deadlifts, 8 reps. In this case, the Romanian, the primary difference is the starting point. So in the Romanian, we start standing. In the deadlift, we start from the ground. And typically load. So we can typically deadlift from the ground much more, or a little more, than we can Romanian deadlift. So Romanian deadlift is going to feel a little more like that good morning you just practiced. A little more hamstring, glute, right? More upper back half of the leg. The deadlift, if we start to bend the knee, tends to start feeling a little more whole leg, everything, a little more whole body than kind of an isolated hamstring glute activation. So if you want a little break from that, we can go a little lower to the deadlift. You are okay repeating the same muscle groups, or your weights are extremely light. You might be more effective doing Romanian deadlift. So essentially, again, it's a kettlebell, but you can use your dumbbells as well. And I'll show you both. So the kettlebell's gonna be singular for me because I only have one of these weights. The weight is between my feet. From here, sorry, camera angle here. Trust the kettlebell's there. My hips are gonna go back, my good morning, whoop, right? I'm gonna bend my knees. Grab the top of my kettlebell. My chest, again, chest is up, eyes are forward, right? I'm gonna push, right? And then hips back, and I stand. I'm just standing up. I'm not hips forward, right? The Romanian deadlift is a little bit higher. The range of motion is not implied. So I know you can't see below my knees here, but I don't need to touch the ground. I'm standing up now. I'm going to breathe in as I come back. So the kettlebell stays between my feet. Right. So a couple variations. If you have kettlebell, great. If you have dumbbells, same idea. Again, you can go 2. I'll show you my feet here in a sec. So when I have weights, I tilt them down only because if I try and deadlift with both heads, it gets really awkward. My back, I have to bend my knees a lot. And this is just uncomfortable. It's not really ideal. So I tilt them down. I tell you a better position. You're not still too tall. I can just stop when I need to stop. So I can stop. You'll notice dumbbells did not touch the ground for some of those. Okay. Directly after your 8 reps, single, double, weight, doesn't matter. We're doing 8 to 10 seated vertical jumps. Again, that's if you can jump. So we're gonna rotate to the left here real quick. So when I'm doing seated vertical jump, I have a couch. That's fine. We're just gonna jump, a little explosive movement. So I'm gonna be on my couch. Okay. And then I can't really swing my arms, so I have a couch here. That's okay. But I'm gonna move my weight over my feet and come back to seated. Right. Try not to upset my neighbors, but you get the idea. Doing 8 to 10 of those. If we need to do the intent to jump, right? Just like that's fine too, meaning we pretend we don't actually hit the ground. Okay, let's do 8 to 10 directly after your deadlifts. Good. So 8 deadlifts. If you have something a little heavier, okay, you're in a gym setting, you have the option to go heavier, you can change your reps to 5 deadlifts. Okay. If you're at home, you're limited by weight choice, right? Or maybe you have a full gym at home. Congratulations. Lean into that 5 rep range instead. Beautiful. Also super handy. I don't have any, but if you have yoga blocks in your house because you do yoga, you can touch your dumbbells to yoga blocks. If you have small weights. Gives you a stopping point if you would like it. Good. And having a break between these things is okay. After your jumps, I should say. So yeah, deadlift, quick transition into your jumps, and then or the intent to jump even. So just going into the balls of your feet. If you can tolerate that upright, you can then rest and then do that again. If you're in a gym setting, right? Again, you have ascending weights options, significant weight options. 5 reps on the deadlift, still 8 to 10 jumps, seated jumps. And then you're gonna rest a minute and a half between sets. You have lighter options, fixed weight options, relatively low weight. The rest is still helpful, but the minute and a half is not as critical. Good. I apologize. I'll say this much. For anyone who wears a bra, go for the high impact one today. I should say that. That's something you're comfortable with. Probably not a whole lot of jumping and landing in triathlon, but you know. Whatever you're comfortable with, frankly. Good. And it's okay if your heart rate should be coming up here. So if you find your heart rate starting to spike a little bit, it's okay. That is to be expected after jumping. Good. Final round or set, I should say, of your deadlifts and your seated vertical jumps. For anyone who can box jump and wants to jump onto a box, great. I just don't have that option or variation at home. Or, like I said, you can do weighted or unweighted step ups. In this case, I think we'll make that same thing 8 to 10 reps. Push. Just watch out for things underneath your feet and make sure those weights are kind of not underfoot when you jump and land. Good. Okay. Well deserved. Keep your ears open or you don't have to go right away. We're gonna I think we'll get through 12 minutes of this. And again, this 12 minutes is just a time frame to work. So I think in the past we've done as many reps as possible or rounds as possible for obviously for quality, but the intent is for speed. You can choose your intensity here. So you can keep it lower, resting longer, or you can bring it up a little bit. These are all pretty high skill movements. So you might need to slow down a little bit. 12-minute AMRAP. Again, you can adjust for the remaining time that you can tolerate in your schedule. 7 per leg. I wrote Bulgarian split squats. These can be weighted, which I could do in the past, or not. Again, you'll need something like a couch or a seat or something you can put your foot on. If you don't love this variation, we can go with a good old-fashioned split squat. But as written, again, a little shift to the left here. I'm gonna sit again. You can only see my waist. That's fine. I'm gonna sit on my couch here. I'm gonna extend my leg. This is your guideline. I don't know, oddly long, right? That's okay. I'm gonna help myself up. I'm gonna put the top of my foot, as I prefer to, but you can follow the foot onto your couch. So this or this, it's up to you. I'm gonna be standing mostly on my left leg, the one closest to the camera. I'm gonna sit back like I'm squatting. I need to stick my hands out, that's fine. It's 1, 2, sorry, my knees are making noise here, but you get the idea. They're not painful, they're just loud. 7 per leg. If that's too much, you're like, hey, I don't love the back leg lift, we can go and just do a good old fashioned split squat. 7 per side. Okay. This is gonna be followed by 7 heel elevated glute bridges. So I mentioned a single leg and a double leg version. It's a little hard on the couch, but it's doable. Glute bridge itself, okay. Double version, okay. Heel elevated, and then I'm just gonna lift my hips, right? So my feet are up, okay. Feel like ass. I got that. 90 degrees on the legs. Otherwise, actually, I said a little more than 90. Excuse me. And then we're gonna go ahead and if I'm going single leg, all right, 7 per side, if that's the case. All right. Let's see, sumo goblet squats. Actually, I'm going to show you. Well, sumo goblet squats are going to be a wider stance squat, wide relative to your initial squat stance. Again, I'll show you my feet because that makes the most sense for this. But essentially, all right, I have my feet. This is my normal squat stance. I'll go a little wider. Okay, that's what I'm going to see for my feet. For my body, I have my goblet squat. I'm going to carry my weight. So I'm going to find my stance. I know I'm dark on dark here, but find a slightly wider stance. Let's say that's wider than your normal stance. You're going to squat down and come down. Right? So just a wider stance squat. We're doing that for 7. And then 7 per side, 2-second paused mountain climbers. Very simple principle. You're just holding your knees towards your elbow for 2 seconds. So 2 reps would look like this. Blank shape. 1, 2. 1, 2. But sorry about this. I alternated there. 7 per side. So meaning be 1, 2, 1, 2. I keep alternating by accident, but it's 7 per leg. We're gonna start with our split squats. Okay. We have 9 minutes remaining on the session, Marisa, so we're gonna do 9 minutes. If you want to use an extra 3, great, but I want to respect your time.
I'm not going anywhere after, so yeah.
Yeah, we can go for a full 12. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
Okay.
Like I said, these are all relatively high skills. So the idea here was we're just moving through them. If you need a rest, shake it off, take a break. By all means, rest. I'm just gonna run a stopwatch basically. So if you're at home, you're just running a 12-minute clock. That's all. You can weight the split squats or not. So I'll point and just make that clear. All right, so when you're ready, And if you're doing the split squats and you want to start unweighted and then add weight later, that's okay. So I want that hip to go back a little bit, at least initially. So we're not defaulting to a knee forward position. Your knees will translate forward eventually. If you like a knee forward squat, by all means, it's all yours. Right, 7 per leg split squats, Bulgarian in this case. 7 per leg if you're doing the single leg version. Heel elevated glute bridges. If you're gonna go ahead and do 2-footed, you're welcome to do either 14 total reps, so double it, or if that's too much, stick with 7. If your knee angle, so from ankle, knee, hip, is around 90 degrees, that's going to feel potentially more glute biased. If you want more of a hamstring engagement, just scoot yourself away from the couch a little bit. Or your knee angle. So again, ankle, knee, hip angle is more obtuse, bigger. It's more hamstringy. I don't know. You still get some glute too. But just something to keep in mind. So after 7 per side glute bridges, we have 7 sumo goblet squats. So your base stance, regular squat, like a step to the side. If you're a taller athlete, you might have a wider stance. You're going to feel a little more lateral or side of the leg, maybe your butt, kind of side hip. But not so wide you have no control. Your knees are going to track over your toes, so you're going to be going this way instead of more dead on. And then we have 7 per side, 2-second hold, which is a paused mountain climbers. So you're going to stick with one leg for 7 reps. You need a rest, that's fine. Then switch sides. If you're following along, we're doing the full 12 minutes. But you can run this section, you can run your own clock for. It's pretty. You'll probably find that these mountain climbers are basically an extended plank hold. It's essentially what they are, under the guise of calling it a mountain climber. That's okay. Just for your reference, or he said that was about 3.5 minutes. It was good, right? Again, resting as you need between movements, between legs, all of the stuff. So this one is, or I'm just getting 12 minutes of quality movement. Oh, sorry, that's my shoulder or something popped. Don't mind me. I think I will say probably an obvious adjustment for anyone doing the glute bridges, and the heel elevation is too much. Just start with your feet on the ground. Back to that kind of original variation, the one we kind of think of more often than not. After your heel elevated glute bridges, we have the goblet squats. Wide stance, sumo. I will say, I don't think it offends anyone, but if anyone is offended by that name, because it's referring to a sumo wrestler, wrestling position, go ahead and call them wide stance squats. Same thing. And again, wide is relative to your initial or default squat stance. I don't expect someone who's 6'4" to have the same stance as someone who's 5'4". Maybe. And then you have your 2-second paused mountain climbers. 7 per side. Again, if it helps, you can elevate your hands, right? That makes them less challenging. Or a variation that I like a lot, if you have some wrist discomfort, you can elevate your forearms onto something. We're going to keep rolling with this, but I'll show anyone who wants to see it. Basically, you can take an elevated version, something more sturdy than a couch. But instead of a plank position where a wrist can get a little cranky, you can go with a forearm variation. Elevate makes it easier, and then do the same thing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Takes the grip in the forearms out. So if we're doing some wrist discomfort, you do an elevated forearm position, can mimic a more traditional plank. Beautiful. You are 7.5 minutes in. Good. So I find people are getting through, I don't know, around 3 rounds of this. It's okay if you don't hit 3, or if you get more than 3. But like I said, this 12-minute AMRAP, if you're getting 6 rounds, well, congratulations. I don't know how fast you're moving, but you don't need to get through as many reps as possible, as fast as possible. I know it's a longer list than normal. We have what, 4 or 5 movements here.
Yes.
So if you need to refer back to this repeatedly, that's okay. Yeah, after your split squats, you're doing heel elevated glute bridges.
Yeah, definitely notice a difference whether I scooched my butt closer or farther to the
Yeah,
bench.
and you can experiment with that. Like try closer, try farther away. And generally speaking, the closer your heel is, or your butt and your heel are together, you're gonna get a little more quad engagement, which is not the end of the world, but not really the point of these exercises. We're going for more back and leg. So you want around a 90-degree angle, generally, if you can tolerate that. Or again, if you want more of a hamstring bias, a little butt farther away from the couch or from your heels, that's going to give you more of a hamstring engagement as well. And you can play with that, throughout this 12 minutes and see if you have a preference. Obviously, if you have a hamstring strain, maybe not so much. You shouldn't be doing this if you have any of this, if you have a hamstring strain, as far as I understand. All right. Good news. You have 1 minute left. So whatever you can get done in 1 minute. If you find yourself in that single leg variation or single side variations and you want to even it out because you want to, great.
Okay.
Work.
I did an even, same number. 7
Perfect.
sides.
Good work. I do have to not run right away, but I do want to
Okay.
moving. Great work today. And I will see you later.
All right. Thank you. See ya.
Bye.